confirmed of early onset. How do you dig deep to find that word that we all kind of struggle with, resilience, or the manner in which to deal that mentally?
Resilience is always something I say it's a bit like Irishness. You only think of your Irishness when you're abroad.
Yeah.
And I think you only you dig deep for that resilience when you need it. I was definitely thrown, knocked for six, because this was under the backdrop of COVID, if you remember.
Yeah.
I was living alone. So what started as a frozen shoulder, a really bad pain in my shoulder, and I couldn't identify the provenance, and that quickly became a shake in my hand. And then 2 weeks, that shake got worse. And then from Christmas, by the time I was able to see my sister, she was going, "What's happened to your hand? That is very obvious. That's not a small shake that you said on the phone. This is like a tremor. Make sure you see your GP." And I did that when we were allowed to see our GPs in March this was of 2002. Between March and December, I had 3 MRIs that came out clear, but there was quite a number of symptoms that started appearing. So I had everything from my tremor went from my fingers to my shoulder and became quite jerky and aggressive. I had like pains in my legs. I had restless legs. I was dragging my right leg. There was no swing in my right arm. I hadn't really put these
joined the dots.
Hadn't connected the dots.
Yeah.
I hadn't connected the dots. And I remember someone saying to me, "But surely you must have known." And I said, "It's amazing what you'll do. It's amazing how being deluded is protective mechanism."
Correct.
I think it was, like I said, it was during COVID. I had lost a lot of work because I couldn't style photo shoots.
Yeah.
I was at home. I was trying to think of, oh my God, what am I going to do financially? I was also going through perimenopause. So I was blaming it on that.
Yeah.
And then I had this, number of symptoms that were developing. And by the time my 3rd MRI came through, that was clear, I had at this stage wasn't able to brush my teeth. And this happened in like a number of days. I couldn't open a bag of coffee. My hands started cupping in. It was like, I was writing Christmas cards, and I remember saying, "Jesus, they look like ransom notes." Auntie Mary isn't going to get a card this year. But so my GP, who's incredible, she just said, "The dots aren't joining, the math isn't mathing. I'm going to send you to A&E tomorrow, and just be prepared to stay for the day. You'll be there from 9 till about 5, and you'll probably see a bunch of people who will do blood tests and whatnot, but we'll get to the bottom of it." And that's exactly what happened. Saw nurses, saw doctors, saw neurologists, and finally saw the man who would be my consultant neurologist, who in a matter of 20 minutes, I think, made a determination and just said, "You have early onset Parkinson's," after doing a number of tests himself and looking at my background. And it just threw me, because women in their 40s don't get Parkinson's. I was like, okay, Michael J. Fox got it when he was 29 and Muhammad Ali was 42, but those are exceptions to the rules. Like, where do I fit into all of this? So it's when you are dealing then with the practicalities of, I had to go back and see my consultant and bring a friend with me as a second set of ears. And, you're dealing with the medication, and you're dealing with changing your how you move through the world. That's what I found to be the most difficult, apart from my medication, which took, like I said, about a year to really
get the balance.
Get the balance, trying different, combinations until we found the right one. That took its physical toll, but what really took its biggest toll was how the mundane things, it really chips away at those small things, like how you move through the world, your habits. They're so entrenched. And then you have to adopt this military-like precision when you take your medication, when your hydration, your exercise. Everything is like a time-bound plan. And that completely eviscerates any sort of, spontaneity. And And that's what I miss the most. I felt like an emptiness, felt like the most boring person in the room. And then you feel that, your work is slipping away, and there was so much to kind of take on board. And yeah, it's your resilience is, people kept using that word and saying, you're so brave, you're so resilient. And I thought, well, brave, I haven't gone out to war, so I don't see how I'm so brave.
Yeah.
But the resilience, I definitely think I got from, and I owe it to like my mother and my grandmothers. I just think I've seen what they've gone through. And when you have somebody, whether it's your ancestors or a friend or just somebody you admire or look up to, and you see the road that they followed and how difficult it was,
Mm.
it can make yours seem a lot easier. I definitely think my grandmother's had a very, like my grandmother from Inishbofin, her mother died at the age of 10, and
Wow.
then when she was 10, rather, and then when she was 17, her father was killed in the Cleggan disaster.
Wow.
And she became head of her family, and she had to put her 5 siblings through school. And she used to make Aran sweaters for Stanley's of Clifton, and she was so capable. And I remember I said to my sister Margaret, I said, I don't know. I look back at Nana in particular, and I just think her capability and her ability to turn her hand to anything just inspires me so much. Um, and these are the strengths that the Martin Seligman, he's the father of the positive psychology movement. He talks about our strengths, how they are kind of the key to achieving personal satisfaction, but I think they're also the key to um to releasing that sense of resilience from inside of us. Because strengths are something that they're not like talents that are innate. They're something that's voluntary and it needs to be cultivated. So it's like perspective. You can see the bright side of a fairly crappy situation, or self-regulation. You can make yourself go for that run when you'd rather be sitting on the sofa watching Netflix.
Yeah, exactly. But
So
are Irish people any more particular resilient than other people, or is that a narrative you'd like to believe, or is there any truth in Irish as
I,
in resilience in our traditional war stories, inverted commas, of our lives?
I think Ireland as a nation, like historically, we've had so many, 800 years of oppression, you're looking at famine, you're looking at mass immigration. We've really had to deal with some very,
Tough situation,
the,
yeah.
the darkest moments of our kind of
Yeah,
our history have brought about this. Resilience is something that's earned, I should say.
yeah,
It's something that nobody wants to have to go through resilience. It brings
absolutely.
out the best in you, but it only does that by dragging you through the mud,
Great.
So
As someone
I
said, I
think,
mean, I've seen these definitions. It's like advancing despite adversity. It's not something you choose, even though Instagram has you believe resilience is a thing you buy in a pharmacy. Resilience is
oh,
something you dig deep when you have to. You'd rather not have to, but if it's
yeah,
there, you have to rely on it to get you through what you consider. I mean, I had a stroke, Annmarie. So people say,
yeah,
aren't you admiral? You've done this. I had no choice. I got up. I went from running 10K to a wheelchair. You have to
yeah.
get on with it.
Yeah, you have to get on with it. And that's
Correct.
exactly it, Rossa.
Yeah.
You have to get on with it. Nobody wants to get on with it. You know what?
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head with popular culture in particular. I think it was really spearheaded during COVID, when, we talked about resilience, and every
Yeah.
corporate wellness program had someone talking about resilience.
Yeah.
And I would debate whether